There you go.
I think the kids do a much better job at that than we do.
I have to agree that I guess it's more challenging than what I realized, maybe. So, or
Yeah,
maybe it's just the fact that we're just old. I don't know.
I think there's that too, for
Yeah.
sure.
Well, welcome back to the S.L.I.D.E podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Coach Aaron, and tonight I am joined by my co-host, Coach Jenn. How are you doing, ma'am?
I'm glad to be here.
Awesome.
It's crazy for it to just be me and you, man.
I know. So for everyone out there listening, this is going to be our first episode in 2 years that is just Jenn and I. So don't know how that one's going to be received because they probably get tired of hearing my voice anyway, but we're going to have a little bit of fun, I hope. So this is going to be, I think this is going to be our last episode of the year. And so what we've decided to do is spend this episode maybe giving you a little bit more information about who we are, what our show, our vision is to grow this show and continue to help and support more kids. And then we're going to spend the back half of the show just really recapping some of our favorite shows, favorite guests. And if we don't mention you during the show, it's not because you were bad. It's just as I scrolled through, I looked at names. Jenn did the same thing. And, there's different things that stick out to us from each episode. So isn't that right, Jenn?
That's right. And
Yeah.
the number one thing that stuck out to me,
What's that?
all the catchers we had.
I know, you're right.
Yeah.
Like we're
Yeah.
a show full of catchers. And, as I look and I look for, future guests, that's what I'm seeing. Like there's so many kids that are catchers. And I think some of that's got to do with Yachty Molina, because I think so many of these kids grew up liking him. But hey, let's talk about this. Shohei Ohtani's contract. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about that the other day. So 10 years, $700 million. Jenn, what do you think about that?
I saw a graphic go across social media today or yesterday that showed his salary, his year, whatever that comes out to per year, is more for that single player than some have for the entire organization. Does that sound right? Yeah.
Well, so yes, but how they structured this contract is I've never seen a contract structured this way. So initially, with most contracts, there's a signing bonus. And well, actually, when in MLB, it's all guaranteed contracts anyway. So you may, if it's a $300 million contract, and that's a small one these days, apparently, but you may get 50 million this season, 30 million that, most of the time it's usually back ended, but so this contract is 10 years. So he gets $2 million a year. And then once he's completed his contract, then he will get the remaining balance. So it's like $680 million after he completes his 10th season. So
wow,
that's that's kind of crazy. Like, it's $2 million a year. Now I could live on $2 million a year, Jenn, couldn't you?
I would get by. Yeah.
Oh, I can't imagine. But but in the sports world, $2 million per year, that's kind of low. So that's kind of a good way to get that player to commit long term, because so many times now players will get, they're ready to leave the team after 5-6 years. And like it's interesting.
Well, what happens if, so you said it was a 10-year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what happens if, God forbid, he gets hurt at year 6?
Mm-hmm.
Then,
well, it depends on the longevity of or how much that injury affects him. If it's a one and done, like he just, ruptures something in his arm or something and he can't play baseball again, there's usually like an injury settlement that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And then so you'll get a partial, I don't know.
Right.
I'm not sure of.
There was this news report also that I saw, and they were in Canada, and maybe Toronto. I would assume probably Toronto. And the guy was salty. The anchor was so mad that he had gone to the Dodgers, and he was like, "Hey, how many world championships do the Blue Jays have, and how many do the Dodgers have?" He's like, "The Blue Jays have 2, and the Dodgers have not 2." I mean, he was very upset with the move, and I would imagine that a lot of players, or excuse me, fans probably feel the same way.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
Well, I mean, for the day before, like I started seeing all these posts and rumors that he was going to the Blue Jays. And so I think it was, it's just like all these rumors in sports. They build it up. It makes you feel like it is on the edge of being completed, and then everything just completely changes. So
yeah, that dude was not happy about the decision.
Yeah,
But
if I was a Blue Jays fan, I would have. I was sort of hoping, because at one point the Braves were in the conversation, and like that would have been cool to have him. But he gets to go play with Freddie Freeman now. So
that's true. Well, I'll give you a short update about some of the league stuff that we've had. So, we've started had some, like, I'm not on the board, but some board meetings, some commissioner meetings, trying to plan for the upcoming year. So, speaking of the Braves, have you heard of Braves Country?
No, I haven't.
So, Braves Country, Dixie Youth, something that baseball has typically been involved in. So, Braves Country is something that is not nationwide yet, but they're working on it, and it's a way to keep kids in rec ball longer. So it's more competitive. It's a more competitive postseason. So you still play for your rec team during the year, but like during your regular season, your 10 games or whatever it is, and then you have your local, your district, and your state tournament. If you win your state tournament, you get to go to Truist Park, and they pay like for you to come and see a game.
Oh, wow.
So that's what D2 is going to do this upcoming year for baseball and softball. We're partnering with Braves Country. And the cool thing about us being like the Kickstarter for South Carolina is that we're the only district in South Carolina doing it. So guess who's going to the state tournament? Because like there's nobody else doing it right now.
So is it going to be 2 D2 teams at the state tournament?
It depends on how much interest there is with the other local leagues.
Right.
So like D5 and Hillbrook and all those other leagues are going to make a decision on whether they're going to be in it, and then we'll play each other.
Wow. So
but it's all Spartanburg.
So that removes Dixie Youth then, right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's I'm sure for everyone out there, that's that's something really cool, because we have talked about for so long about how do we keep kids in rec ball, and I think that is that's pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah. There's so many, just like everywhere else, so many all-star teams popping up. If you don't like where you're at, well, we'll just make a team. Yep. And so this is going to be a really cool way to continue to play with your friends that you've been playing rec ball with some incentive.
Yeah.
They're doing like this bag. I don't know exactly the contents of it, but it's like Braves gear that each kid is going to get at the beginning of the season. It's like a swag bag of Brave stuff that each kid is going to get from Braves Country.
Wow.
And the softball stuff will be branded softball, and the baseball stuff will be branded baseball. So I'm excited about it. I think it's
this
cool.
is like affiliated and attached to the Atlanta Braves, right?
1000%. Yeah. Okay. If anybody listening as well, I don't know if anybody follows D2 Youth Sports, but on Facebook, you can click on the link or just Google Braves Country. You'll find out all the information and all the rules and stuff. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yep. Well, that's cool. I don't know if Jace is playing baseball in the spring or not. We've kind of given him his options if he wants to play flag football. I didn't let him play flag in the fall because I wanted him to play the real game. But
wait a minute, flag isn't the real game?
No. Well, actually, you know what? I guess we can say differently because it's actually going to be in the Olympics coming up.
That's right. That's right.
But for now and for his sake, he played tackle and he enjoyed it. He really did. And so I told him, I'm like, look, you got baseball or flag? And because flag is good at, letting kids learn plays, run routes, those type of things. He played as a corner during tackle. He'll still get to play as corner, and learn a lot more because they throw the ball almost every play. So,
well, and they play both sides of the ball.
Yep.
Every play too. So
exactly. And so,
yep.
like that'll give him, a little different point of view of things. But he'll go back to fall, and he'll go back to tackle in the fall. So,
I'm excited that he loves it.
I will be a coach. So
I'm
that was
sure of it.
painful, but I'm excited though, man. I really enjoyed, like, there was a few times where like I went out on the field and helped with the quarterback and stuff, and like it's so cool to help a kid, like show them just a couple little movements, how to set your feet and square up, and then to watch the kid throw and then look back at me like, holy crap, it worked. And I'm like, it's just simple things that you got to do. And so I'm a fundamental technique kind of guy. So like, let's do the basics, get the basics great, and then all the hard stuff will come. So anyway, all right. So let's get into the show. So I wanted to talk a little bit about just who we are. And because I don't think we've ever really taken a lot of time to maybe tell a little bit about our story and what got us to this point in life. And, not to get too in the weeds with anything, of course, but Jen, what was your career goal when you were a kid, the age of these kids that we're having on the show? Like, what was your dream goal?
I wanted to be a teacher when I was most of the kids' age that have been on the show. I remember in my bedroom having like seats set up and then a chalkboard at the front, and I
No
was the
way.
teacher. Oh yeah, yeah. And then somewhere early high school that shifted to want to do something more in the like sports realm or physical therapy, nurse practitioner, physician's assistant. I knew I wanted to be something in the medical field, but yeah, I certainly wanted to be a teacher. Because you know what? I remember when I was in undergrad, there's this thing called I think it's called a lateral transfer in the school system. Does that ring a bell with Katie? Has she ever made that mention before?
I don't think so.
So where I went to high school, I went back and spoke with some of the staff, and they said that in order to coach, you had to teach. But I didn't want to go to school to be a teacher, so they were going to do some type of shorter, comprehensive degree so that I could go ahead and start coaching and then start teaching shortly after that. So that was the plan up until pretty much like college. What about for you?
At these kids' ages, I was split between wanting to be an MLB player. Of course, everyone has heard me, talk about Jose Canseco, but that was the dude that I was inspired to be like. And of course, there was no social media and no like behind the scenes access back then. So, some of the ideal players or the players that I looked up to were not always the great people now looking back.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a baseball player, but I think at that time in my life, I wanted to be in a rock and roll band.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it was, late 80s. I think, if we're looking around these kids' ages, well, actually, probably about 86, 87, I was all into the LA heavy metal hair band rock scene. So, like, my goal was I wanted to be in a hair metal band. So,
Okay. Are there
yeah.
any pictures of that? We got any proof?
I'm sure my parents have got something. They've got a few videos of me dancing and singing when I was young. And I remember one video I was actually dressed up. I was dressed up like Michael Jackson. So I had the coat, had the parachute pants, all that cool stuff from back in the day. Do you know what parachute pants are?
I
You
sure
do.
do.
Okay.
Hmm.
But I was singing John Cougar Mellencamp. And so like it's everything. Like, yeah, that was my plan, but I really didn't, at that time in the early 90s, you didn't have a lot of exposure to things that are out there that could have been in the field that you wanted to be in. So,
Hmm.
if I could go back when I graduated high school, I would have went into like an audio engineer program or something, like working in the studio.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I
I
got
could
a
see you doing that.
pretty decent ear for things. I can play the guitar a little bit, and I attempt to sing in the shower. So, but I think I
Same.
sound pretty good. You know, and I'm my only judge, so I sound pretty good.
I
But
sound good when the music's loud, but once the music gets turned down or off, not so good.
yeah, yeah. Let me tell you what I did. So after our first episode, that pilot, that very painful pilot that we went through,
Yeah.
I still had everything set up the day after. And so I went in and I was like, I'm gonna record me singing. And I recorded like me singing a verse to a song, and I listened to it and I was like, nope, delete. Can't do that.
Nobody's ever listening to that.
Well, I will say though, I think it was probably 10 episodes in before I would even have enough courage to even listen to an episode, because I used to send them to you first for you to listen to, because I just couldn't do it. So, yeah.
Aren't you
After,
glad though that there wasn't any social media back then?
oh, yeah.
Aren't you
Oh,
glad? I am
100%.
certainly glad.
Kids these days don't understand that everything that they're doing is being recorded, monitored,
Hmm.
tracked. I mean, it's kind of scary. I mean,
Yeah.
I watched, what movie did I watch? The new Mission Impossible. And I don't know if you've watched Mission Impossibles before, but they're freaking amazing. Tom Cruise is the man. But
The original. Yeah, I've seen them.
yeah. So they actually get much, much better.
Okay.
And so the last movie is based on AI. And this
Mm.
AI computer develops the ability to think and act on its own. And it has the ability to hack and control all government, banks, everything. And like, if you think about it, that's possible.
Hmm.
And it's kind of
Yeah.
scary. I mean, think about it. We all have an iPhone or an Android phone. It tracks our movement, it tracks our location, it knows when we're sleeping. I mean, depending on what we're
Yeah.
putting in there, it knows the medications that we're taking. Like, there is so much information about us that's out there right now. Like, it's scary. It's really scary.
Yeah. Recently I went to a business conference and they were talking about like TikTok ads.
Mm,
And I've always shied away from downloading TikTok because supposedly like the
it's the
Chinese were
devil.
spying on us. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And then somebody was like, they're already tracking us. Like just because you put TikTok on your phone, like that's going to be minimal based on like what they're already tracking. And I was like, oh, you're right. Download.
Yeah. I mean,
It's already out there.
it's unreal. I mean, I remember sitting in the bed that night. We watched it in the bed, and I told Katie, I'm like, you realize like all of this shit, all this. Ooh, I got to catch myself. All of this
It's not just
stuff,
me and you, Aaron. We got
all of
listeners.
this stuff is totally possible, and it's very scary. So, I mean, all of our money, all of that stuff now, like we don't touch our money anymore.
Right. And even there's one commercial, I think it's a Google phone commercial, and it's like this guy throwing his kid up in the air,
Mm-hmm.
and you can literally take the baby, drag it up and make it look like it's farther up in the air. I'm like, nothing's real anymore.
Right.
Nothing is real.
Yeah. Like I saw
He
the
just
Google
cropped that picture.
I saw the Google Pixel ad where like you can adjust everybody's face. Like if everybody's not looking at the right direction, you can take someone's face from another photo, put it in there. And I'm like, but still, if I'm looking back on that as a memory,
Yeah.
it's not real. And
But everybody's got to be perfect.
I,
Everything's got to be, you know, like
well,
no judgment. So
yeah, whatever. I mean,
I know.
like
I get it.
kids these days, and for any of the players and parents out there listening, you got to teach your kids to be an individual and not to worry and allow other, people to control their thoughts. And like, it's so unreal. I mean, people like, I mean, it's been every episode that we've done in the last month, but I mean, even the Taylor Swift stuff, like it's unreal. Like people go crazy over this
I
stuff,
know.
and
I know.
I don't know, we're so wrapped up in everyone else's perfect life, we feel like we're all in the rat race to compete. and everybody's got to be perfect because nobody shares the negative things that go on in the world. And that's what kids don't have any visibility. They don't understand that. I have so many conversations with my daughter about what the real world's like, and she just doesn't, she just don't get it. So that's scary to me. But, oh well. So Jen, now that we've been on the show for 2 years now, has the show changed anything for you? Given you a different point of view, thoughts, anything changed in your life?
Yeah, I definitely think from a coaching perspective, I knew that I was having an impact on kids, but it's definitely magnified that. So, because I'm coaching 6 and under, in the spring, and so their experience with a coach, oftentimes I'm their first one.
Yep.
So I gotta really own that and make a good first impression, set them up for expectations that they should have out of a coach in the future, and really take responsibility for the skills that I can teach them. I often take it for granted, like, oh, they're just 6, we don't need to work on certain skills, but to get that stuff ingrained in them at a young age, they're 12 and under coach, they're 10 and under coach should be able to say, oh yeah, you've had really good coaches through the years, and I want to be, part of that group of people that they are referring to. So that's definitely one thing. And then some of the conversations that we've had with the coaches on the podcast have just been about mindset. And so I can take that into conversations with the kids, with or without sports, and then into my business as well, just being a leader and trying to meet somebody where they're at and take their opinion into consideration and then filter what comes out of my mouth. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, those have been the two big takeaways, is just as a coach, and then just mindset stuff, because I don't think it really hits most of us until we're into our later 30s and maybe early 40s. What the way we talk about and to ourselves in our mind has such a huge bearing on how we act and the goals that we're able to achieve and stuff. So, it's been a fun 2 years. I've learned a lot, I would say. What about yourself?
Yeah, I agree. I think from a coaching perspective, like the reason why, we wanted to start the show is because we loved coaching. And, like the show is definitely taking everything to a higher level. Like, I've, after, listening to some of the coaches on here, even listening to some of the players, and, some of them will talk about their coaches, and like taking little bits and pieces from, almost each episode and applying that to, my son. He's, I think we've discussed him on the show before, but love to do, not my freaking, he's my best friend. But like he is so hard on himself. He don't give himself any credit for anything he does. He has to look at the negative in everything. And obviously I'm pretty sure I know where he gets that from, me. But it's really like some of the things that I've learned on the show, and just how to deal with situational type situations with kids like that has changed my coaching. And I'm gonna tell you, like, one of the things that I learned early on is just have fun with the kids, and
100%.
like make the kids, not so much as make them, but create an environment where they fall in love with the game. And there was 2 seasons ago where I handed out baseball cards, and kids freaking went crazy over baseball cards. And just different things to get kids to be more engaged. And hearing the parents, like, it was so funny. I went to coach ball. I took Jace to coach ball game. And so I brought back a lot of the things that he did. And that included me dancing out on the baseball field, which that's totally outside of my comfort zone. But once I started to realize, like, I'm here for the kids, not for the spectators. Like I could care less about the spectators, no offense, but moms and dads, you're there for a reason. I'm out on the field for a reason. So but I had so many parents after that first practice where we were doing all the silly stuff come up and ask me what I charge for private practices. And I'm like, thank you so much. But I guess I just don't view myself as that to that level to give private practices, when reality, maybe I could, but that changed. Obviously, it changed my career. Like the show definitely, like, I still can't talk about it yet, but like it's been a year in the making. And it's definitely changed my life. I went into the retail world. I worked for Best Buy for 26 years out of high school, and never thought I could do anything other than that type of work, just because that's all I viewed myself as. But once the show came into play and the network started to really grow, like, I'm like, you know what? I can do something in sports. I can do something with baseball. I can help kids in a way. And so I will be having an announcement, hopefully within the next 45 days, that
45 days.
Yeah. It's been like, hurry up, wait.
Yeah.
Hurry up, wait. So it's getting close. It's getting close. I think we might release a tease. By the time this airs, the tease should already be out. So if I was 100% confident in everything in our timelines, I'd just go ahead and say what we're doing. But nope, not yet. So you may already know by the time you're listening to this. So, but yeah, I think it definitely has changed a lot.
So what do you think, if I asked you, who's the number one guest that we've had that you think has made the biggest impact on you? Who's the first person that comes to mind?
That's a hard question. I mean, I think, early on it was Matt Hollicks, from Hollicks Hitting Garage. Yeah. Like he was a really, and still is. I mean, he was a good person for me to bounce ideas off with, and to really build me up and give me the confidence that we were doing something unique and special. So I think Matt was definitely a big one that first year. And I think, just all the coaches. I mean, Duke Baxter, I got to know Duke a little bit. Amazing guy. I mean, we live in our little bubbles and we don't see anything other than, what we see in front of us, usually at the baseball fields and such. But there's so many great teachers out there that have so many different ways to teach and educate kids. And one thing that I've learned, Jen, is like, being a coach, you got to be humble, and you can't let your pride get in the way from learning something and teaching something in a different manner. And because like sometimes I get stuck, like I'm trying to help this kid, change his swing, adjust something. And like, I go to YouTube now, or I pick up the phone and, talk to a coach, and hell, I get coached. So
yeah,
that's my message for coaches out there. Suck it up. Like, it's okay. Like, one of the things that I would say to any parent is, I may not have all the answers, but I have resources and a network that will give me the answers. So many coaches
I was gonna
know all the
say,
answers.
yeah, there's definitely more than one way to skin a cat. And each kid's gonna learn a little bit differently. So yeah, your way is not always the best way, coaches.
I have to go back and ask you, how many times have you ever skinned a cat?
Never. But I know there's more than one way.
Apparently, I saw something on Instagram or something the other day where they used that one example as like, all right, tell me who's ever skinned the cat the first time. Like, nobody.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I haven't skinned anything ever. So yeah. I'm glad you got a little chuckle out of that.
I did. So, all right. One of the things that I'm going to start doing as well is I'm going to start having our guests count how many times I say the word so. Like, I have noticed through listening to these episodes and starting to do some editing and such, like, I say the word so all the freaking time, and it drives me crazy.
Have I ever called you out on saying awesome?
No, but I
I
say
think you say
awesome way
awesome
too
a
freaking
lot
much
too.
too. I know. But
But
that's the
everybody we
funny
have
thing.
on the show is so awesome. So it's hard not to say that.
Well, I just got to expand my vocabulary a little bit more. That's what I got to do. So I know
Superb.
I've caught myself saying awesome like just repeatedly, and it's like, oh my gosh, I know everyone out there is hearing this. So maybe they're not paying attention as much as I am.
You need to go back to the different episodes that you listen to, and every time you say awesome, like just take that 1 second clip and just put awesome, well awesome, well awesome, well awesome, and just put them all together and see how long of a clip it is.
Lord, that would take a long time because what I
Nobody
noticed,
would listen to that episode.
not at all, it would just be for our entertainment. But what I noticed is like even my like from a public speaking standpoint, like it's definitely changed how I approach things.
Yeah.
And what I noticed with the awesomes is that's my gap filler. That's my gap
Yes.
filler. Like, and you know, I look, if you're listening to this show, like give us your feedback. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what words that we say all the time that just maybe drives you crazy or makes you laugh. Like, let us know. Because we're learning this is I still say that we're rookies in this world. And I mean, even though we're about to enter in our third season. Can you believe that, Jen?
No.
We're about to enter in our third season. So a lot of people ask us like really who our target audience is with the show. We're starting to have that, you know, a little bit more and more. And, you know, I think Jen, like I feel like, you know, the parents are who
Yeah.
is our target audience because, you know, hopefully the parents are the gatekeepers to allowing kids to listen to the show. Um, but then there's so many lessons and there's so much value, I guess you could say, in listening to other kids talk about their
Yeah.
love and passion for the game. Because there's some kids out there that's probably dealing with something or struggling with something, and then they hear a kid talk about, you know, maybe something similar, and there's always something to learn. And I think that's what we wanted to accomplish when we set out is to build a network to support kids and to help kids get better and be educated and, you know, have a little education in the show and a lot of fun. So,
That just gave me an idea. Like when we do our 2024 planning, we need to
mhm.
talk about uh somehow creating an outlet for kids to talk. Like not necessarily on a show or anything, but just
Yeah.
a friendly ear,
Yep.
somebody that they can chat with.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And
Okay.
I was gonna say it made me think of the Mental Game Academy,
Hmm.
Larissa, that we had
Hmm.
on over the summer, and what a cool thing she's got going on because we just talked about social media and the pressures from social media. There's pressures in the game. There's pressures on the drive home. There's pressures during lesson. There's pressures at school,
Yep.
and it's a lot. It's got to be a lot.
It is.
So, an
And most
outlet for
kids
kids
don't
to have.
realize, you know, and see, that's the one of the things too that I feel like parents and all of us should be aware of is like there is so much going on in those little kids' heads. I
Hmm.
mean, they may be stressing over, and you're gonna laugh at me for this, and they may be stressing over Minecraft or
Oh yeah,
roadblocks or all this
yeah,
different stuff. I mean, and you know, whatever floats their boat, but like kids have a lot going on. And you know,
yeah.
Jace came home yesterday from school. His brother, Jace or Jacob, got him some Yeezys tennis
Hmm.
shoes. And like these are like super expensive shoes. Now, of course, I don't think he paid retail value for them, but like they're still expensive shoes. And he came home the last 2 days saying kids made fun of him
Hmm.
and for wearing them. And yeah, and I'm trying to explain to him the psychological part of this whole, you know,
Yeah.
the dynamic, and he ain't trying to hear any of it. Like he's like, you don't understand, you don't understand. And
He's just like, I'm not wearing them anymore. Pretty
well, you
much.
know what? He got up this morning and put them back on,
Okay.
and
Good.
like I was so proud of him for that. So, but you're right though, like the mental side of things, you know, figuring out how to get kids away in an avenue to be able to communicate sometimes, I mean, even anonymously if they wanted to. But
Yeah, of course.
I've went down I'm learning a little bit about the app Discord.
Yeah.
And I think there's a way maybe in there, but I want to make sure if we get into that, obviously we've got to be, cognizant of, the kids' privacy and all that fun stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's definitely something that, it's even like the mentorship thing that we've
Yeah.
discussed,
Yeah.
creating a way kids to have someone to look up to.
Yeah. So parents, if you're listening, if you have any ideas on how we could make that happen or any other ideas,
Yeah,
let us know.
for real. And look, if you send us some ideas, we may send you some merch. So your feedback is super, super important for us. So, I mean, because you're our listeners, and we want to make sure that we're doing things that are valuable for your day to day and the relationship with your kids. So, future plans, Jim. When we started this show, our goal was to create, or my goal was to create a youth network out there that, not just about youth baseball, but create a show about youth softball.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I feel like now more than ever, that's super possible. And I think, next year is going to be a fun year for a lot of different reasons, but I think it's possible in 24 for us to maybe even start something new, maybe not as frequently as what we do today. But I think there's possibility is, and I think that, the next show, obviously, if we get into, other shows, would be softball, because
Mm-hmm.
the softball world, it's a beast. Like, I was so surprised at, as I started digging around on social media, learning and finding kids for this show, is like how big the softball presence in the United States is. Like, it's a big deal. I mean,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
And I'm so glad that they're putting softball back into the Olympics,
Yeah.
because at least it gives girls something to strive for after college, because there's just not a whole lot of opportunity. If you're in that percentage that gets to play college ball, there's just nothing after that.
Yeah.
Unlike baseball, where it's like single A and double A and triple A and
Well,
whatever,
independent leagues, I mean,
independent league.
yeah.
And
I
I
mean,
think it's
softball's
awesome
got
that there's that
pro.
much.
Yeah. Softball's
There's
got the
very few.
professional, but
Yeah.
it's not, it loses. We watched the softball World Series last year when Oklahoma won it. And then we started watching some of the pro games, and it just did not have the same feel.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
like what I fell in love with about the softball World Series, it just wasn't there when I was watching the pro games. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a psychological thing with me. Who knows?
I don't know. I don't know, but
Awesome.
yeah, I think I would love to. I would love to have some softball players on the show and talk about the struggles of baseball, and there definitely are some, but man, softball is such a fast paced sport.
Hmm.
Um, the bases are shorter, the mound is shorter. There's drag bunting, like there's no baseball players that drag bunt for whatever reason. There's none of that in
Yeah.
baseball.
Well,
So
slap
I would
hitting, just
slaps.
like all of that stuff. Like, I remember when I first started watching some college ball, and I started watching the slap hitting and stuff, and I'm like, what is this? This is
What is
yeah,
this?
what is this? But then
That's a
after
way to get on base, baby.
it
That's what it
is.
is.
It is. But, I had to understand the game. So, but like you said, though, there's just as many stories in the softball world as there is in the baseball world. And
Yeah.
you know,
So one of those opportunities that we got this year was to go down to Myrtle Beach
yeah.
and to watch some baseball and some softball, like right beside each other,
Hmm.
which rarely ever happens. So that was really fun. You got to
Yeah.
spend a couple of days with me.
I did. I did. That was a fun
Just
trip.
talking about, we went to McAllister's and we got some taters.
Yeah.
And
We went out and had drinks one night and talked about all kind of stuff. So we got
we
to know each
did.
other. Yeah.
We did. And we got to meet Tabor. I had never met him in person. I don't remember
Yeah.
if you had, but
No, that was the first time I'd met him in person.
yeah, he's a great guy. And you talk about motivating on the field, those kids respect him.
Yeah. Well,
They
he doesn't work for athletics anymore.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Tabor.
Yeah, I know. He's I think he's actually coaching high school football now. So, because I think
What?
he had a huge passion for
That's
coaching
cool.
in general, but yeah, I think he's working his way into the ranks of high school coaching football. So,
Yeah. Well, when we were interviewing him, I just remember being really impressed when he would interact with the kids. So we had like a baseball player sitting in the chair and then Tabor and just the the wisdom that came from him. And then as a coach, it doesn't matter what sport it is. Just as
yeah.
a coach and some of the mentality was really,
Well,
really cool.
yeah, that was the All-American games
Yep.
for baseball youth. And I think that's, I feel like that's what separates those type tournaments from others is when you've got a director over a brand like baseball youth or All-American games, like they have relationships with almost every one of those players. And
Yeah.
it's so unique. It's not just come give us your money, you play your games, we give you your ring, we send you on. It was so much more than that. And
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed it. I mean, the people and the kids that we met were amazing. Like,
Unforgettable.
yeah, for
Unforgettable. Yeah.
sure. And well, I think maybe when this episode's released, I think I'll be in Panama City trying to do a little bit more. So yeah, good stuff coming. But that was a fun trip though, for sure it was.
It was.
So for looking at like future for the show, one of our biggest challenges that we will face is, do we have someone out there that wants to help be a part of a future show,
Hmm.
as a guest and someone that can really lock in and help us grow. And so again, if the listeners out there, if you know anyone that would be great, send them our way. It's one of the hardest things in this world we live in is finding good committed people to it. So and it definitely, obviously, I don't want to finish the show or move any further, but Allie is a part of her show, and she's actually on her way driving home from Arizona right now, so she couldn't make the call. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's people like us is what we're looking for, people that can just laugh, make fun of each other, have some fun, and loves kids. So anyway, all right, so let's talk about some shows. So season 2, we are wrapping up. This is, as of right now, this is episode 65 of season 2. I think we're going to hit 95 episodes, I think, when you add both seasons together.
So
And
how many for this calendar year for 2023? 60 something?
65 right now.
That's wild.
It is. It is. So I mean, it's a lot to get done. I mean, juggling everything with life, it's been a challenge, but again, like we talked about, I mean, we've learned so much from these episodes. And the cool part about the show is we stay in touch with most of the kids that are on
Hmm.
the show. So I get text messages and videos and all kind of stuff sent of kids out playing and having fun. And I'm gonna tell you that's the best part of the show for me is the relationships that we build with the kids and the parents or the coaches. So, all
Yeah,
right,
it kind of fulfills that mission, that purpose.
that's right. Um, so which one, who sticks out to you in season 2 that was fun or educational?
Um, Felix was season 2, yeah.
Felix was season 1.
Okay. Um, he came to mind first for some reason. I don't
Oh
know.
yeah,
Hey, Felix. Hopefully
yeah,
you're
he's one of my favorites still. That dude is a rock star. So I'll start it off.
do it.
Our first 2 episodes that we did in season 2 was the umpire shortage. So we had Kyson, the kid umpire, on with Lathan, and that was a fun episode. And then having Vincent Chapman, dancing umpire for the Bananas, having him on that episode
Oh
too. That
yeah.
was fun. And then we had Scott from Balls and Strikes. He was there. I still like, one of the things that I think about is that Scott from Balls and Strikes, his walkout song was I think Boys in the Hood by NWA. And it's still like I remember people from things like that. It's so funny. But then we had the Funky Monkeys on, And this was
Yeah.
one of their newer teams that had just got back from Space Coast and won the championship. That was a fun episode. Oh man, I've got a list. Here recently, the Still brothers are freaking amazing. It was the brothers that their episode just got released last.
Yeah. I don't
Uh,
think I was able to get on that one, but I've seen all the clips and stuff from it. I gotta
yeah,
listen to it still.
it was amazing. Trip Dog from
Yeah.
Louisiana. That's my dude right there. So he's done some field reporting for us so
I
far,
saw
and
that.
and honestly, we're looking to add a few more field reporters. So we want
Heck
some more
yeah.
eyes and ears out in the parks and learn a little bit more about kids and what goes on. So, but Trip Dog was amazing. Like when he pulled up his shirt and showed me his 6-pack abs,
Oh my gosh, I know.
like I was like shocked at first, and then I was like, you can even just see my reaction of like, I don't even know how to
Yeah.
handle this right now, but like
Like,
do it
put that
again.
away.
But then when he sat down, he was like, it got too hot for you, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god, this kid is classic.
He's hilarious.
Yeah,
He's hilarious. I'm looking back through some of them right now. Remind me, because your brain is obviously healthier than mine. Maybell, that
that
was
was
this
that
year,
was
right?
season 2. That was season 2 with Ashlyn.
That was like a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah,
She lived it.
yeah,
Of course, everybody else that's in it right now lived it, but not to that scale. I mean, she has a movie based around her life, and as accurate as she said it was, she said like 95% of the movie was accurate. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's I I I think I smiled the whole time. Like I was just, you know,
I
in
was
the presence
nervous
of
for
a
that
great.
one. Yeah, I
I
was a
was
little
too.
nervous. Yeah.
I was too.
Um,
Yeah.
that was a good one though. I enjoyed that. Just hearing her talk about her time and her love for the game. Like that was,
Hmm.
obviously we know she's spent so much time, but I think she's 97, 98 now, and she
Yeah.
still goes to tournaments and hangs out with these girls playing ball. Like
Yep.
it's incredible her love for the game and her desire to want to make, an avenue for girls to be able to play baseball specifically. So,
Right. And so that being said, her protege, Ashlyn,
hmm,
is a superstar,
yes, she is.
and she made an impact on me too, just as mature as she is, and she's going to go places for
Yeah,
sure.
she for sure is. I mean, after they went to Cooperstown, the MLB actually put together a video reel of her hitting. And like for the MLB, like
Yeah.
not these other side brands of the MLB or anything, like the actual MLB made a video of her. And
Yeah.
and look, for you dudes out there that, are listening and you think girls playing baseball is crazy,
Yeah.
we've met quite a few of them this season that might argue and beg to differ. So it's pretty crazy. And like that's one of the things, like one of the episodes for me was when we had the ball girls on after Cooperstown. That was
Hmm.
a fun episode. Just
Yeah.
hearing the girls, because you can feel the camaraderie with all of them on the show. That was a big show with a lot of people, and we probably won't do as many of those type of shows moving forward because it's so hard to distinguish and not get people talking over each other. But you could see how close that team was with each other, and they
And
showed out
what was their
Cooperstown.
age group?
There were 13 U.
13. Now, the most recent group of kids, boys that we had, what was their age group?
You talking about the Arsenal, the kids that played on the national team?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say they were, I think 12U or 14U. I don't know.
Okay.
I feel silly for not. I'm gonna have to look that up.
In my head, I was comparing the group of ball girls to that group of boys,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking about like the silliness of the boys. The girls were almost like more business,
Mm-hmm.
and the
Mm-hmm.
boys were obviously like texting each other on the side, like
Yeah.
sending each other memes and making fun of each other because they would say certain things and we knew they were communicating.
Mm-hmm.
But then yeah, just like the silliness. Yeah, that was cool.
What's so funny, and listeners out there, you probably hear it you probably hear it in some of the episodes, but when kids get on the mic and they get quiet, and that's always been a challenge. When we started the show, I was like, man, we ain't gonna be able to stop these kids from talking.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had a lot like that, but we've had a few that, got really quiet and it was hard to pull information out. And so some of those episodes are, we try to do our best to keep those episodes, lively and,
Yeah.
and I know those kids, and like after the show's done, usually most of the time I talk to the parents, and
Mm-hmm.
they're like apologizing to me, and I'm like, you don't have to apologize. This kid's never done
No.
this type of stuff before. And look, the first time I did it, I couldn't do anything. So like, it's okay. But
It was a mess.
I'm gonna tell you though, Jen, like in talking to some of the parents that we've had, like when we had Alvin on, Life with Alvin Thomas, like, talking to his mom afterwards, and, she's the type of person that she's working with Alvin on building his social skills, and, how to communicate and how to, speak in a way that, is easy to understand, unlike what I'm doing right now. But, like it was so awesome to get a call and her thank me so much and thank the show for what we're helping the kids do. And like, that's just all the validation I need. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good point. I never really thought about the like public speaking aspect of it.
yeah,
So we're helping them in other ways too. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a good
yeah.
point.
I mean, this is, skill sets that kids will, hopefully they'll be more comfortable in next time. We've brought some kids back on the show and they're a little bit more talkative then. So, because, we, 98% of the guests we've had on the show, I've always encouraged to reach out to us and come back on the show and, help us host a show. And some we had, and man, it's been great. I mean, again, our goal was set out to help kids, and not just on the field, but off the field as well. So hopefully we can, maybe we've talked a few kids out of not sitting on their phones all day or something, but, good luck with us on that one.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Um,
CJ Betty was a big
yeah,
one for me.
yeah,
Like,
I enjoyed that one.
super motivational, inspirational dude. I mean, speaks it like it is and has a way of just like giving you cold chills because the guy is
Mm-hmm.
so passionate about things. Like, that was a big, I remember when he booked the show, he sent in the request and everything. I immediately got nervous. I'm like, I got to talk to this dude. Like, hey, listen to
Yeah.
me. I'm a country dude here. Like, I got to talk to him.
How
But
many times through this season do you think you got cold chills?
quite a few. I mean, just
Yeah.
some of the stories. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I remember Brady, Kataki kid from Las Vegas. I don't think you were on that show. It was one of the shows where I think Chandler Dansling
Mm-hmm.
from Where's Home Pod was doing the show with me. And I don't know if anybody realized this or not, but the episode that we actually released was the second episode that we had done that night with Brady, because we did a whole episode and I didn't hit record.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my gosh, that was rough. But I'm gonna tell you, Brady was like, I remember him talking about his rings that he had on his trophy case, and what those rings meant to him and what it reminds him about. And like, it's so cool to hear some of these kids and their maturity and their ability to like express themselves. It's pretty freaking awesome. So here I
Awesome.
go. Awesome. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. So,
So
yeah. Oh, any moments that stick out that was like super funny for you?
I just enjoy making fun of you a lot.
I know,
That's what
and I
it is.
appreciate it. It makes me feel like I'm home. But look, I know you and I both were on Darius and Carl Bryce's
Mm-hmm.
episode. Those
Yep.
dudes, are
Yeah.
rock stars.
Yeah.
They're from
Very
Mississippi.
motivational.
Yeah, Mississippi boys. Carl just got promoted. Or not promoted. He got a pitching coach job at Akron University.
Okay.
So he's planning to come on the show in January with his new like team with some players
Mm-hmm.
from his new school. And we're gonna have him and his team on. So I'm looking forward to that one because, man, the thing I love about those guys the most is like they're so humble about things, and just, I mean, you can look at them on social media and see them interacting with kids. And Darius is like, I see more clips of Darius with kids than I do necessarily with Carl, but like you can see those kids, like he's like a big brother to them, and it's so
Yeah.
awesome. It's so
He
awesome.
talked a lot. He talked a lot in that episode about how coaches can play a role in responsibility. So like, if your player shows up to the field without their glove, like that's my biggest fear as a college athlete or as a youth athlete, showing up to the field and not having my proper equipment,
Yeah,
because I got the fear God put in me when I was, the age
early
that
on.
he coaches. Yeah. So just, teaching them the small responsibilities on the field, off the field, and then you hope that translates into making them into a productive member of society. So just,
Right.
like a responsibility. And I think that's another accolade for just sports in general.
Yeah.
I just think, I don't care if you're not athletic, like you really need to be in some type of group community setting.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be sports, it can be chorus, but
Yeah.
being held accountable and you're accountable to other people. So yeah, I really appreciated that episode a lot.
Yeah. I think you just said something there that's super important, like responsibility and accountability. Like,
Yeah.
and you definitely heard that from those two coaches. Um, and I'll say this, and there's so many kids out there right now that don't really have that authority figure in their life, and sometimes that
Mm-hmm.
coach that they go see is the person that they're looking up to. So, if you're a coach out there, and even if it's a rec ball, 8U, 6U, whatever it is, like, even, or a travel coach or a training facility, like, you gotta realize the role that you now play in that kid's life. And it can be as life changing as possible, or you can just take it as just another thing you signed up for, and
Yeah.
help those kids. So I definitely learned a lot about that. What about Mark Paul? He's been on a few episodes with us this season. That dude
Yeah.
is crazy.
He's out of control. The one that sticks out the most to me was he was going through Papa John's drive through
Yeah, yeah.
and getting the
Ordering his
sauce.
pizza. Yeah.
Yeah, he had to get the sauce, and then like, so we're still talking and we're doing our thing, and he just muted us and just starts like eating. He don't care. He's just gonna eat his dinner because he is hungry,
Yep.
and he's gonna eat. But it it makes his social media reiterates that we can laugh at ourselves. We
No
don't have to
doubt.
be so darn serious all the time, and like, just lighten up. He makes fun of baseball moms, and it is a riot.
Yeah.
It's so true, and that's what makes it so funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he shows us the worst that we see at the field in a comedy light. And like, because everything that he says, I have seen on the field. I mean, whether it's the
Oh yeah,
coaches, the dads talking to each other about whose kid's doing what, and my kid's the best out there, and don't put my kid in the outfield. Like, all of those situations you and I both have faced as a coach.
yeah.
And like, he's the advocate to fix or hopefully challenge that thought process.
I thought that him, and forgive me, sir, if you're listening to this episode, but the one that had the bucket idea,
Oh, yeah. Travel ball coach.
I can't
Oh
remember
my
his name off
gosh.
the top of my head, but those were like the travel ball hacks.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me pull that one up.
He was funny too.
I'm very embarrassed as well. I can't remember his name.
Oh, we've done a lot of things, Aaron, and we're old, so they'll understand.
I sure hope so. If not, I greatly apologize. I felt like I remembered a lot of stuff here. Let's see. Travel. We had Brittany, the baseball mom, on.
Oh yeah, she was so
Uh,
sweet. I liked
yes,
her.
she was good. Coach Justin. There we go. Travel
Coach
baseball
Justin.
hacks and tips with travel ball
Yeah.
coach Justin. Yeah,
Um,
that dude takes his role serious. Like,
he does.
as a
Hey,
coach, yeah,
yeah.
And he finds ways for us not to have to spend so much money at the parks, and that's another good thing.
That I'm definitely using that one in the spring for sure.
Yeah. Now we just got to figure out how to get. Well, he did have a solution for gate fees. I think it was like getting tickets and handing them to people that hadn't gotten in yet or something. I can't remember what there was.
I'll have to listen to it again.
Yeah, there was a hack for that one. I should have did some homework on that one as well. I'm gonna tell you one of the episodes that meant a lot to me was Logan Wydra, the kid that came up to me at the end of the baseball tournament, Myrtle Beach. The kid with Tourette's, and he came up to us at the closing ceremonies of that tournament, tugged on my shirt, and was like, "Hey, I'd like to tell my story. I got Tourette's," and I was like, "Oh my God, yes." And then we had him and his brother on the show for an episode, and hearing Logan talk about how he deals with his, Tourette syndrome, hearing his brothers call it his superpower, like that I get cold chills now. Like, just thinking about that, how much those two brothers love each other and support each other it's incredible. Like, I think in most families there's that competition dynamic between siblings. And what I've seen a lot over the past few months is we've had some brothers on the show that love each other and want to help and support each other. And I think that's total tribute to the parents who's raising these kids right way. So still brothers. I mean, it was so awesome to hear a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old. No, I'm sorry. 8, 6, 4, and 10. I get, Stryker was 10. But hearing those brothers and they talk about how much they help each other and they go out in the yard and practice with each other. And like, that's cool to hear. Like, that's good stuff for kids to hear as well. Like, you don't have to compete with your siblings. Help each other and be happy for each other. So
let's wait and see what happens when one of them gets a girlfriend, and then they have to split their time between this girl and going outside and playing.
Well, the funny part about the Still brothers is the two oldest brothers, Maverick and Stryker, one's 10, one's 8, but they play football, but they don't play on the same team in the same age bracket. So they're gonna play each other. And
oh man.
Their dad coaches, I think, Maverick's team, and so, or maybe Stryker's team. And I'm gonna tell you their names, all rock star names. That was amazing. But yeah, just hearing those two, like, they're talking about how they're going to compete against each other, but then they're also talking about their bond that you can tell that is so natural. It's awesome. It's awesome.
So I wonder why they're on 2 separate teams.
I don't know. We didn't get it. That was a little bit of a chaotic episode with everything going on, so we didn't get into some of the nitty gritties. But I definitely, I've offered for Stryker to come back and to be a host on the show with us. So we may find out some more details when he comes back. So
yeah, cool. Yeah. I'm just thinking it's a logistical nightmare. You got that many kids in the first place, and then you got to take 2 that could be on the same team and they're not on the same team. Mm-hmm. Yeah, kudos to their parents for sure.
Yeah. Well, and then the younger two, Cannon and Missile.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah.
Cannon and Missile.
Cannon and Missile. They play on the same baseball team together. So, and they were so adorable. So,
so what's the other kid's name? That's Cannon, Missile, Stryker, and Maverick. What's the other kid's name?
It's 4. They're just 4.
Oh, there's 4. Okay.
Yeah, just 4. Yep. So it's Stryker is the oldest, then Maverick, and then Cannon, and then Missile. And Missile was amazing. And his mom sent me a video the other night because they were listening to the episode in the car, and one of the brothers called Missile the crazy one, and he heard it in the car. And when he said, "Who's the crazy one?" they told him it was him. He just busted out crying. And his mom videotaped it, and she sent it to me. She said, "We just told him he was the crazy one." Yeah, I'll have to get that to Jen, so when we putting this together, she can put maybe some of those clips in there. But
that is hilarious.
It is. But they filmed an awesome video saying, thank you for allowing them to come on the show. And Cannon.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah, so Cannon, he's the 6-year-old. he was the only, I asked, because they live in Florida, and of course I ask everybody from Florida if you're Dolphin fans, and Cannon was the only one that said he was. And I'm like, all right, me and you are buddies. And then in their thank you video, he was like, we're buddies. And I'm like, you're right, we are buddies. So oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, we had Julian on. Remember the kid that talked about the Ivy League schools and which schools he was going to go to. Like, very impressive. I think he at the time that was only like his second year in baseball. I think he was 12. I think he started when he was 10, and the dude's already playing PG tournaments, perfect game tournaments, and like he's a phenomenal athlete. So, and I think I remember how I found him was his dad had taken a picture and posted of him studying at the baseball field.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I remember
all right,
that.
I need to know more about this kid, because that's pretty special. So, I don't know if people really realize how we find guests and how we do our scouting, as I like to say. And really, it's just searching on Instagram, social media, just all the different pages, TikTok. We're starting to we've had a few more guests from TikTok lately. Trip Dog was a TikTok dude.
TikTok star.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just looking through, honestly, like some parents do a really good job of like telling the story of their kid. And, generally that's what we're looking for is, someone that can get on here and talk to us and has a little bit to talk about. And so it's a challenge sometimes, because we even had this past season, Brady Kataki, for example. He found the show on his own and like sent me multiple messages trying to get on the show. And like, I won't let any kid on the show until parents are involved. And so like, I remember his dad texting me one night and like telling me he could be on the show, and then we got it scheduled. But like, that dude was determined to be on this show, and that made me feel special that we had created something that kids were working to get on this show, and that's pretty awesome. So awesome.
I think you're right. I think that's another avenue that we haven't thought about yet, with like kids asking their parents to be on the show. So, we are making hopefully an impact where the kids feel that there's value and coming on and showing what their skills are, whether that's bat flips or back flips, bat flips or back flips.
Say that one 3 times in a row.
Bat flips and back flips.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, their personalities is what makes the show. I mean, you and I, of course, are present in most of the shows, but generally people don't tune into this show to listen to us. I don't think they're tuning in to listen to these kids and some of the. I've been telling people recently, Jen, that our show is a combination of Jimmy Fallon. Like, I think we laugh and joke a lot. I think it gives me a Jimmy Fallon feel with a youth baseball instructor for the educational side, but then like it's the darndest thing kids say. Like, it's Jimmy Fallon, darndest kids things say, and with a little bit of like baseball tonight maybe mixed in there. But
we just need some puppies and we'll be good. Like, we'll have everything covered. We just need some dogs.
Yeah. I mean, my dogs are too big right now, but yeah, if anybody wants to ship us some puppies, like I'll definitely take some puppies.
Not to my house. Nope. Not to my house.
Oh man, it has been a fun season, super fun season, and we've been recording for a minute here. So I think it's about time for us to maybe wrap this one up, because people are probably already gotten bored with us. But it has been one hell of a year. So, and thank you for everyone out there that has listened to this show. And give us more feedback. Make sure to go subscribe to our show on the different channels that we're on. LinkedIn, X, Twitter. X is Twitter, but Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Oh Lord, like it's a lot of stuff. But make sure you give us a follow. And like Jen said earlier, give us your feedback, give us your suggestions. Let us know what you would like to see, who you would like to see or hear. Because we're always looking for new and exciting things to do with the show. And really we don't know what we don't know. And so bring us those people.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say let us know what you want to know about, because sometimes we just get on and make stuff up as we go. So it'd be a lot more fun to tell you things that you want to hear.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know we've had a few requests for Coach Ball Game. We were supposed to have him on this past season. Honestly, with his schedule and our schedule, it was so hard this year because he's a busy man. I did talk with him today, and we're shooting for January, I think. So we should have Ball Game Coach on earlier in the year next year. So, but I think everyone else that I'd kind of like listed out who I wanted on the show, I think we accomplished every one of them with the exception of Coach Ball Games. So, but we'll get James on the show soon in season 24. So, and if people wonder when I put season 24, it's a reference to how MLB does. Like MLB does 24, they do 23. That's the seasons, and so I like to keep the show as closest to the language that Major League Baseball uses. So it's going to be season 24 coming up, but in parentheses, it's really season 3. So, all right, Jen, any final things for our listeners out there?
I want to say thank you to Aaron, because this would never have happened, especially to this extent, without you stepping foot into my office a fateful 3 years ago. Did you say three? Two.
No. We're
Two.
starting year 3, so
Okay.
it's
2 years.
been 2 years ago.
It'll be 2 years ago. I think it was in January when we started. So like,
Mm-hmm. I
we're
think that was
literally
like
coming up on year
December.
3.
Yeah, I think that was
Yeah.
like a December when I came in.
I actually came across that. I have a notebook, and I came
Mm-hmm.
across the notes that I took that day.
Oh
And
yeah.
they say this dude is nuts. Nah, that's not what it said.
I am.
So, just having a vision for how we could impact kids, and it's podcasting is not easy to maintain, to
No.
consistently do. There's so many out there that fail after one season or just a couple of episodes, because
Mm-hmm.
it's very, very hard to keep up with it. So I appreciate you and all the hard work that you put in. And hopefully the mighty people see the same thing. So I
Yeah.
appreciate, it's a thankful season. Like, we're
Yeah.
supposed to be giving thanks for things right now. So I'm
That's
thankful for
right.
Aaron.
That's well, thank you very much. And I'm thankful to gain a new friend. Um, I think we've said most of the time on the show that you and I really didn't know much about each other until the show started. I think we may have heard each other's names in passing and such, but like we have like this show, we gained a lot of relationships, and
Mm-hmm.
your relationship and friendship to me is pretty, it's up there, Jen. So I
It's pretty
appreciate you.
okay. I
Yeah,
think
it's
that's
pretty.
what you were about to say. It's pretty okay.
No. I was
It's okay-ish.
yeah, I greatly appreciate your friendship. So yeah, you've helped me on this journey. You're my comfort zone. So anytime you're on the show with me, it feels more like home. So I appreciate you as well. So, and I, you know what, and I
Thank
get a
you.
kick out of when you make fun of me too. So for
Okay, I'll
all,
keep doing it.
yeah. Well, it maybe it breaks the monotony of my voice every once in a while with some laughs. So see, I ended it with so. I ended all my
So,
sentences with so. So
so,
we're gonna close out the show now.
all right, let's
And
do it.
and which one of us gets to say we'll catch you on the slide?
Well, first I want to know your walkout song.
Oh yeah. It's a good point. Normally I always like Paradise City from Guns N' Roses is usually like my number one go to. But music these days, I've been listening to a lot of country. Bill
Me
Leroy
too.
turned me on to Cody Johnson.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know a lot about Cody until Bill and I from the Bananas sat down and we talked for like 2 hours in the office one day, and he got me sold on Cody Johnson, Jelly Roll, Hardy,
Jelly Roll. Yeah.
Man, and obviously Morgan Wallen. Like, there's so much soul in that music, and so yeah.
Do you like Luke Bryan?
Mm,
Oh, I hope he's not listening to this.
He's more of like party country music to me. Like, there's
Luke
club.
Bryan? You're thinking of
Yes.
some. Wait a minute.
No, no, no,
Maybe
no, no,
I'm
no,
thinking.
no, 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 no. We're
I'm
on.
sorry. I'm thinking of the wrong person. Who am I
Okay.
thinking of? Something in the Orange is the name of the song.
Something in orange.
It's not Luke Bryan. Hold on.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Luke Bryan, he's a huge star, of course.
Zach Bryan. I
Zach Bryan.
apologize.
I haven't got
Zach
into
Bryan.
him much. I haven't got into him
He's
much.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I'll have to check him out too. But what do you think we've learned from kids talking about their walkout song?
I think it shows their personality.
Yeah. Like, I
Yeah.
feel like, that's something that we did day one of the episode. Like, in the first episode, we asked our kids what their walkout song, and it's always been asked in every
Love
episode.
it.
There was one episode where we didn't ask it, and it was the Funky Monkeys episode from season 1 where we didn't ask.
Oh.
And I remember that to this day because it bothered me so much that we didn't close the episode with their walkout songs. But we've had them back on, most of them back on since then, and we've learned their walkout songs. But what's yours? Because yours was a mystery for the longest time, and you dodged the question so many times. What is it?
I did. I don't know. So I've been listening a lot to like 311 and stuff.
Oh Lord,
So
okay.
I have a 311 playlist that I play at the office, and something that I think would be so fun to walk out to would be Modest Mouse, Float On.
Okay, don't know that one, but
No.
I saw them in concert once.
Hold on, I'm gonna play it. Here it is.
I went.
I don't know if you can hear. Hold on.
I can. Nope, I could hear it down where it was earlier. Okay,
No?
I think I've heard that. Yeah, I think I've heard that song before. I'm not a big listener into that type of music, but like I said, I saw them in concert once, but the only reason I went is because Snoop Dogg opened for them. So, like, I went to
You
see
went to
Snoop.
see Snoop.
I did.
Have you seen Snoop on a stoop?
Yes, my oldest son has got one at his house. Hey,
I
but
just sent
look,
you the track.
Snoop's a different dude these days.
I know.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
I know. Well,
He's a changed man.
He is. But coming back to the music, how we end the show every time, I think music is a we talk about baseball being a universal, like how it brings people together. I think you've said that so many times. But I feel like music is just as much part of that as well. Like,
yeah,
music can take a bad day and make it good. Like,
absolutely. That and a high five. Like anybody gives me a high five, I'm feeling better.
All right. Look, for everyone out there right now listening, send Jenn some high fives. Send her some high fives. You can do it on like Instagram or TikTok or something. Send her some high fives.
Send me a high five.
Tell her to have a good day. Tell her, because she's so busy. Like, she is. I don't think she ever stops running, but it's hard to tie her down for an hour every once in a while because she's so busy. So I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you very much. So, all right.
Thanks.
We have bored everyone to death.
And
we're going to shut up now and we're going to end the episode. But hey, thank you everyone again for sticking with us. Make sure you tell your friends and family members about a show that interviews and talks with kids and coaches. And we have a little fun on here as well. So help us grow this show. We've got big dreams, big aspirations, and you guys are a part of it, and we can't do it without you. So thank you so much. But Jenn, until next time,
we'll catch you on the slide.
It was different. I didn't have to tell you and like explain to you what we were about to do. You just sort of
What's
knew.
up with that? I just knew what to do.
You did. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great afternoon if you're in the morning, or great morning. I don't know. I don't know how to say that, but just enjoy your day.
Awesome.
Have an awesome day. Bye.
We thank you for toughing it out and pushing through. Now, let's go teach the world great sportsmanship, leadership, to go inspire someone through your dedication and excitement for the game. Make sure to smash the like and follow button on all social media at the S.L.I.D.E Podcast Show and the S.L.I.D.E Pod on Twitter. Plus, leave us a review and feedback. Until next time, we'll catch ya on the slide.